Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen, and today, as you can see, we are in beautiful Dubai. So I tried to go and film this video yesterday, but it was so hot that the video camera overheated, or the phone overheated, and it wouldn't record. So anyway, didn't get that, but that is no problem. We're going to dive in today into the same subject what I was going to talk about yesterday, which is a start of a little series I'm going to do, which is I'm going to review all of the citizenship by investment programs in the world and compare them and contrast them for you guys to see what is best. So right now, or best for you, I guess, right now we're going to talk starting off with the most popular citizenship by investment program. Okay, by far the most people are going for this. It's what I would call one of the few true citizenship by investment programs. It's one of the easiest. It's potentially kind of one of the cheapest. We're going to get into that in a moment. And so I'm going to go through why this might be for you, why I'm considering it for myself, why it might not be for you. So stick around. Before we do that, though, there's something I would love for you to do for me, which would be please click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. It's really helpful for us. Really appreciate it. And click the notification bell to get notified. We try and produce lots of great videos for you and share tons of great content. So I hope it's helpful for you. In addition to that, if you have any interest in this topic, you're interested in help with citizenship by investment programs, with residency programs, moving somewhere, optimizing your tax, the lowest legal tax possible, setting up offshore companies, opening offshore bank accounts, asset protection, payment processing, etc., please reach out to us. You can book a call with me, clarity.fm/Michael Rosmer. There's a link below in the description. Or you can check out our websites, offshorecitizen.net, offshorecapitalist.com, and we're happy to kind of see how we can help you. So anyway, with that in mind, let's dive into the subject. Okay, so what is this country? Well, this is, as I said, the most popular citizenship by investment program. It has had like 12,000 people who went through it. I don't remember if it was last year or over the last couple of years, but anyway, a lot of people have gone through this program. And the reason, as you're going to see, is because it's really compelling. It's really easy to go through and make it work. And it's one of the few that is what I would call a true citizenship by investment program. So that is Turkey, okay? Turkey is, it seems not to maybe get talked about in some of the fields the same, like kind of some of the, if you start Googling around, the circles won't talk about it so much. And I think one of the reasons for that is because people don't get big fees on it, okay? So if you have various different groups, they'll sign up and they'll resell different products and, you know, they get a commission off that. And Turkey doesn't work that way. Why is that? Well, that's because of the fact that there's not the same kind of restrictions in it that you can get with some of the others, but that actually makes it better for actual people who are going in there. So let's talk about this. What do I mean when I say it's a true citizenship by investment program? What I mean is you actually invest and get citizenship. This is abnormal, okay? Even though they call them citizenship by investment programs, most of them are really citizenship by donation programs, okay? Meaning that you're either making some sort of a contribution to the government. So like if you look at, you know, there's a donation in Antigua, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominica, Vanuatu, etc., right? You have that. And even so, some people will say, oh, hey, like I have clients who will come to me and they're like, hey, I'd rather, you know, invest so I have something to show for my money. I just had a client just the other day who he was interested in Montenegro, right? And I was like, look, like, you can go for it if you want, of course. I've had a few people interested lately. But to me, it's not a very good deal. And the reason is, first of all, you buy this property and the property is overpriced, okay? So right off the bat, somebody's making some fairly hefty commissions off that property, which is why they're doing it, right? Second, because it's supposed to be only government-approved projects. Second of all, they still charge you a whole bunch of fees, right? There's a $100,000 donation plus, you know, or 100,000 euros, sorry, donation, plus a bunch of fees on top of that. So by the time all is said and done, you're in it for, you know, in actual fees, over 150,000 euros in typical cases, in fees and costs, plus you've already put up the money for the property, and the property is probably overpriced, right? So by the time you go down that road, it's like, oh, this is not so good, right? You have something similar if you go to the Caribbean islands, okay? The Caribbean islands, look, like, there's not a free lunch. It's not like they're saying, hey, listen, we're willing to give this to you for nothing. You have to buy within one of these projects. Those projects are overpriced. Yes, it might work out better. I've seen some that are pretty attractive in places like Nevis, right? So there are some decently attractive options there as compared with the donation option. I'm not saying that, you know, one or the other, but in reality, you have to realize you are paying something to get that citizenship, okay? Now, let's look at what the difference is with Turkey. So Turkey, there is no donation component at all, okay? You can buy any property you want in Turkey. In fact, you can buy multiple properties in Turkey and you can get it. So What it is you have to, how this program works is you invest 250,000 US dollars into Turkish real estate, and you pay some legal fees, and you get citizenship. Amazing, fantastic, super easy. Like, it is so attractive that I kind of feel like there's a lot of sense in getting it just because it's so attractive. It's a relatively cheap option is the way that I look at it, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But these properties can be any property, okay? And in fact, it doesn't have to be one property. So let's say, Turkey real estate's pretty cheap, and as a result, maybe you say, hey, listen, I don't find a property that I'm looking for that's $250,000. No problems. Buy like 4 $70,000 properties, whatever. You could buy a bunch of rental properties, you can rent them out, etc. You can earn cash flow off of them, you can, do fairly well. So why, and then you can qualify, right? The collective just has to be $250,000. After you do that, there's about $7,000 in legal fees that you're going to pay on that. Again, if you want help with that, reach out to us. We're happy to help you. And within a few months, you can get citizenship. Like, it's pretty easy, it's pretty straightforward, it's pretty inexpensive, right? You can sell those properties later, you can recoup your investment, you could make money off those properties, right? You can do proper real estate investing. So let me talk a little bit about the proper real estate investing part of it really quickly. So in my opinion, real estate is an attractive asset class primarily because of 3 reasons, okay? One of those reasons doesn't apply in places like Turkey for these sorts of things, and that is creative finance. Okay, creative finance allows you to go on to buy properties with little to no money down. Basically, you can leverage up in tremendous ways. You can do all kinds of fancy things to boost your net worth for very little actual capital involved. So creative finance is pretty special in real estate. There's not many places you can do as fancy stuff as you can in real estate, but you can't do that here, okay? What you can do, however, is you can do the other two, which is you can buy an asset for less than it's worth, right? So it's perfectly normal. You can buy a property for 10 or 15% below the fair market value. Meaning, if you're buying, let's say, a $250,000 property and you buy it for 10% below, well, the day that you buy it, your net worth increased by $25,000. It's very hard to increase your net worth so effectively as buying real estate well, right? Now, in this case, you actually have to have the capital. If you combine it with creative finance, you don't even necessarily need that, right? Very attractive. The third reason is that you can force appreciation, okay? So if you buy stocks, if you buy bonds, etc., what control do you have? You have like zilch for control. If you buy a business, yeah, you have a lot of control, but it's also, there's a lot of variables and things like this. When you buy real estate, it's pretty clear how you can put in money, improve the property, increase the value of the property. So this is really attractive. So you can do this in Turkey. You can go and you can find properties that are a great deal, that are below market value, that provide you with good cap rate. There's good cap rates in Turkey, right? The price to the rental income rate relative to the purchase price is a pretty reasonable ratio. If you buy well anyway. And then you can also possibly force appreciation, and you can have a really solid investment. So what's my mindset on this program? My mindset on this program is, hey, listen, if I'm going to allocate capital anyway, right? I have, $250,000, $500,000, whatever, that I'm wanting to allocate. And I want to diversify my assets, right? Maybe I've already got some in, some Western country. Maybe I've got some stocks, some bonds, some crypto, some whatever. I may say, hey, listen, this is just a little diversification play for me. Yeah, maybe it'll go down. I'll talk to you in a minute about the things that could go wrong with this program and the reasons why people dislike it. But realistically, how much are you going to lose, right? You own a property, clear title. You buy it for below market value. You have the ability to force appreciation. It's a pretty safe asset, right? With that in mind, let's talk about the downsides of it. Okay, what are the downsides of this program? Well, the downsides of this program primarily are that you have a situation where the Turkish lira has been notoriously bad as a currency. So anytime you're buying in Turkey, you're buying in Turkish lira. And this can have a downward pull on your property values on a global market basis. Okay, you invest, okay, it's a US dollar equivalent, but those liras could be worth 10%, 20% lower, and that could erode the value of your property to some extent, okay? And it's likely that the instability of the lira continues. It's not guaranteed, of course. Some people could make a counter-cyclical argument. They could say, hey, the lira's down, it's going to go up, maybe, probably unlikely, but possible, right? The second thing is Turkey does not have a particularly good passport, okay? So that is one thing about this, and we're going to talk in a minute about who this is good for, in my opinion. But this is not a great passport. You don't get a lot of visa-free travel around the world. If you compare to any of the others, literally any of the other official and even most of the unofficial ones, right? Like I've mentioned about Ukraine as an example, very inexpensive passport to get, but has much more visa-free travel than Turkey does. Okay, so Turkey does not have it. Now, I was talking with my wife; she's Montenegrin, has Montenegrin passport, and so it actually complements really well with Montenegro because the countries that Montenegro gives you, Turkey typically doesn't, and the ones that Turkey gives you, there's a lot that don't overlap, which really expands your sphere that you can reach. So, in particular, the Turkish passport tends to open up more of these Islamic countries, right? So there's that advantage. Whereas it doesn't have Europe, like the European Union, it doesn't have UK, it doesn't have Canada, US, Australia, like all the typical ones that are kind of hard to get, you don't get with Turkish, right? So it's not an amazing passport, but hey, listen, as an option, it's not bad. So this brings me to the third part, which is a little bit concerning. I'm personally not too concerned about it, but it is something worth thinking about, which is Turkey is ruled by, a leader who is pretty crazy, who's got a pretty nuts military, and there is a possibility that they could go to war and they could call their citizens to the military. Now, why I'm not really concerned about this is I figure you can just never go to Turkey, right? You can be like, okay, great, I'm not going to participate in this. And it's not that difficult to exclude Turkey from your kind of global situation. I mean, back in the Vietnam War, Americans were draft dodgers up to Canada and they got away with it. Getting away from the US is much harder than getting away from Turkey, right? So I'm not particularly worried about that scenario. However, it is something to be aware of if, in particular, you plan on living in Turkey, okay? If you plan on living in Turkey, that's a whole other ballgame, and you should kind of weigh that geopolitical risk and what the possible consequences are there. For me, I think that this is good for a specific set of people, which is there's a lot of people that I talk to that have already got a good passport, right? Maybe they're, they have American, Canadian, Portuguese, Australian, Swedish, Norwegian, whatever, one of these, and what they're looking for is a backup, okay? They say, hey, look, I don't really want to get rid of my existing passport, but I want to have a backup plan and something, if anything ever goes wrong. Okay, well, Turkish is a really cheap backup option, right? Like $7,000 basically, right? And potentially the return on your property could actually more than pay for that. So you could actually, in theory, have a passport that's free, which is pretty amazing. You do have a little bit of an opportunity cost in tying up the capital, but not substantial. So that's not too bad. The second set of people would be people who they've got a passport and they want to complement and increase their visa-free travel. So I gave the example of people from Montenegro, right? This is a good option there. The third are people who are interested in possibly moving to Turkey. So at this point in time, it's a relatively open country, etc. And some people, I have some clients who have moved there, some clients who have invested there in property, etc. These are things that maybe you're interested in. I think if you're looking for global diversification, then hey, listen, you can put some capital there. It costs you, like I said, essentially nothing, right, to diversify. It's actually pretty efficient to do business in Turkey, right? And okay, you allocate some capital there, you diversify yourself. Why not do it someplace where you can get a citizenship? Again, like you could buy in Georgia, you could buy in Azerbaijan, you could buy in, Philippines or Cambodia or something like that. You could buy in all those places, right? Well, if you're going to do that, why not consider a place where you're hedging your bet, at least you're getting a citizenship out of it? So let's summarize here. Number one, it's quite quick to get this, all right? So once you go through the process, I would say, depending on how organized you are and what things are going on in the world, etc. Obviously, right now there's been more chaos because we're in 2020. But 2 to 6 months. I would say typically 2 to 5 months. You can have this processed and get it. Number two, yes, it does apply that you can get it for you and your family, right? So it's not just you. You can get it, for your wife, for your kids, etc. So that's very cool. Number three, like I said, you have to put up $250,000 into property. It can be any property. If you want help, reach out to us. Happy to, help you with that, connect you with the right people, etc. Number four, it's going to cost you about $7,000 in legal fees, right? Approximately. So, again, reach out to us. Happy to help you with that. And it's going to give you a passport that is, it's not amazing, right? But it's a nice backup. And like I said, it's nice optionality. You can buy any property. So yeah, that's kind of the summary. I think there's a reason it's super popular, and I think it's because of just how accessible it is. And I think that, for myself, I'm considering, hey, listen, I allocate capital, I'm doing investments places anywhere. Maybe that's something to look for. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you'd like help with this or any other of the Citizenship by Investment programs or just international tax planning, residencies, etc., reach out to me. You can book a call, clarity.fm/Michael Rosmer. Click the subscribe button, the notification bell, and if you liked the video, click the like button. If you didn't, please tell me in the comments. Would love to hear, love to get feedback. And if you have something you would like me to do videos on, please let me know about that as well. I'm going to see you guys on the next video.